Welcome to McCoy Stadium. I'm Evan Cook. Alongside me is Tanner Rebello.
What's up, Evan?
Yep. How's it going?
Great.
All right. Yeah, we just finished media night here at McCoy Stadium for this upcoming Pawtucket Red Sox season. And one thing that became very evident very quickly is the Paw Sox really don't have any starters. The fourth game of the year, they're going with Chandler Shepard as their starting pitcher, who has made a total of 3 starts in his career. Won each of the last 2 seasons here at McCoy for the Pawtucket Red Sox. Last year was here at McCoy Stadium. And then his first season...
Hold on. We got a breaking news right here. The sun, if you cannot see, is coming out. The sun's coming out, guys. I mean, it is truly a glorious day here in Pawtucket. They're on the field practicing. They said that today they were going to practice around 5 o'clock, bearing the weather, and apparently, it's good enough to play on. They are warming up here in Pawtucket for media night. And Chandler Shepard, though.
But yeah, Chandler Shepard, he is going to be starting the 4th game of the season against the Buffalo Bisons here at McCoy Stadium. Tanner, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm simply blown away. Everyone knows that I've been keeping up these roster projections. And then today, they dropped the official roster. You go to TrifectaNetwork.com, you'll find the official roster for the Pawtucket Red Sox. But we have it in front of us right here. Going into this season, it was kind of unclear. Obviously, Brian Johnson and Hector Velasquez are at the major league level. Johnson's out of option, so likely Boston's going to keep him in Boston as long as they possibly can. Obviously, you have Stephen Wright, Drew Pomeranz, and Eduardo Rodriguez all working back in Boston over the next coming weeks. Eduardo might be starting Sunday for the Boston Red Sox, so there's going to have to be some type of roster decision there. I think Bobby Pointer is one of the guys they're sort of thinking is the first man out. Maybe Hector Velasquez goes to the bullpen, but we were talking to a reporter tonight from the Providence Journal, Bill Coach, and he said that the way it's looking right now, Boston has more starters than they even thought they had. Quality starters, like Brian Johnson and Hector Velasquez, quality guys. So the question is, what do you do with them? Johnson's out of options, so that's sort of a tricky play, right? I personally think if Bobby Pointer continues to have some success, maybe Hector Velasquez comes down, but it depends what they view Velasquez as. What's he more valuable as, a starter or a reliever for them? And I think it's more of the starter role.
It definitely is, especially since over the course of a 162-game season, every starter you have isn't going to make 30 to 32 starts.
Right.
There are going to be injuries along the way. So you're better off keeping some of those guys. And I expect the Red Sox to hold on to most of these starters. You would expect Johnson to stay.
Right, but that's a tricky one right there.
It is.
So not everyone's going to make 32 starts, right? Chris Sale, like you said. Chris Sale might not make 32 starts. Drew Pomeranz, obviously injured.
Make up 25, 20 starts.
David Price, what's up with the elbow, right? Is something going to reenact here with his elbow over the course of the season? So there's a chance Brian Johnson could be up with the big club all season. I'm just not positive of that, right? Because you look who's going to work back. Is Stephen Wright going to work back into the rotation, or is he more viewed as a bullpen option? But you can't really rule him out either, because the last time he was fully healthy, you're talking about a player who was in Cy Young contention for half a season, and he warranted to start an All-Star game. That's how good Stephen Wright was when he was on his game and healthy, until John Farrell decided to have him run the bases. His All-Star Cy Young candidate pitcher running the bases. Obviously, Stephen Wright, Cy Young, right? In an average season, you probably won't mention that, but at that time, that's what he was. You can go back and say that, but who knows what he's going to be when he comes back. A fully healthy Stephen Wright, we'll see what happens. He's a knuckle baller. You don't really know.
No, you don't.
Drew Pomeranz, you really had no idea what you're going to get out of him. And Eduardo Rodriguez, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he's had a season yet where he's really taken that full step to be a legitimate top-end rotation guy in Major League Baseball. I would certainly say he's a good 3-4 guy on a rotation, and he certainly is on this team for the Boston Red Sox. But with Pawtucket, I think Bowles is going to have this issue all year where he's going to have to, click and plug here. Maybe it's Marcus Walden at some point will come down from Boston. That's another guy who can come down and start for them. But he's also used as a reliever, and that's what they view him as. That being said, coming in today, I thought Chandler Shepard was a reliever for the Pawtucket Red Sox. In fact, he's a starter for them. Just for, obviously, this first time through. And I think it's going to change week to week.
I would expect it to change week to week just because you might be having Eduardo Rodriguez start this Sunday for the Red Sox, so you assume. Based on all that, you probably send Velasquez down just so he can continuously make starts. And he's just not sitting there.
Depending what happens. Depending what Cora wants to do. Depending on how they want to use their bullpen in Boston. depending on what happens in Boston with these starts. So they go, maybe the starters don't go deep. Maybe someone gets injured. So it's tough to predict what's going to happen. That's why it's truly a question in Pawtucket here. You have Chandler Shepard obviously going the first time through, but even though they've extended him a little bit in spring training in terms of getting his stamina up, he's still kind of a bullpen start, right? What's he going to get you? 3, 4 innings, maybe max, maybe 5. He gets into the fifth.
Let's say
if he gets in the fifth, that's a win.
I mean, last year the Paw Sox with Marcus Walden, they were basically maxing him out at 75 pitches. I would expect them to do roughly the same thing with Chandler Shepard. I mean, they did stretch him out during the spring, but it's like you're probably going to be having him more as a reliever than a starter, just because of that.
Right, and I do definitely view Chandler Shepard more as a reliever, and I think the organization does as well, and the fact that he is going to be in this first time through rotation speaks more to the situation here in Pawtucket than it does to him as a player or as a prospect. But there's going to be a lot of changing. That's kind of what you get in AAA baseball. I think your locks in this rotation is going to be a Jalen Beeks, a Justin Haley, and outside of that, I wouldn't say anyone's a lock. William Cuevas is a guy who's the third starter here. Yeah. Even he's not a lock, obviously.
No.
Brunis Elias is coming out of the bullpen, which we were talking prior to today that Elias is viewed more as a reliever in Boston, so that's probably why he's going to be in the bullpen here in Pawtucket. But based out of options, Elias might spot start here for sure.
Yeah.
But they're going to have a lot of spot starts here.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is in AAA baseball.
Yeah, so for the first series of the year this weekend against the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, on Friday the pitching matchup is Justin Haley, who with the Paw Sox last year was 1-2 with a 2.26 ERA.
Right. He
was very impressive here with the Paw Sox after coming back from the Minnesota.
And if the name sounds familiar, as part of the Rule 5 draft, came back from Minnesota, where he a couple major league appearances, didn't do entirely well, but
a 6 ERA.
Right. He's definitely a depth starter here in Pawtucket in terms for Boston. But he was very good last year for Pawtucket. Limited action, 44 innings pitch, I believe. I think it was 44. Right.
About that. Yeah, so he'll be matched up against Zach Eflin for the Iron Pigs. On Saturday, it's a 1:35 start here at McCoy Stadium. It's going to be Jalen Beeks, who was 6-7 last year with a 3.86 ERA for Pawtucket. He's matched up against Tom Helsman. And then on Sunday, it's William Cuevas against Drew Anderson.
Right, and if you're looking for some conversations from Jalen Beeks and from Justin Haley, we actually have at Trifecta Sports on Facebook. We have our videos up on there, so you can listen to them. And we'll also have posts on TrifectaNetwork.com because we did talk to them tonight and sort of where their head's at going into the season. We also talked to Sam Travis, who I do have to say said all the right things tonight.
Oh, yeah.
He's taking it one pitch out of a time. That is what he said. And I do have some high hopes for him. He smashed the most home runs for the Boston Red Sox in spring training. Clearly shows some power. He's healthy after the ACL. It totally has the right mindset in terms of starting here in Pawtucket because remember last year, Boston sent him down here, and he didn't exactly react too well to that promotion. And honestly, it was kind of justified because I don't know if he really warranted that send down, but in terms of the roster, they had to do it last year. He got thrown out of a game, if you remember that.
Yeah. So, but Sam Travis, really, the perception that I have of him now is he's ready to go. He's making no excuses for the fact that he's getting sent down, even though it's more because of a log jam up in Boston. But, he's.
I don't think it's more of a long. I think prior to last season, Dave Dombrowski thought that Sam Travis was the first baseman of the future, and I still think they believe that. And honestly, there's really no log jam. When you really break it down simply, Mitch Moreland, you can bench. You can bench Mitch Moreland. You can pretty much be a defensive upgrade at the end of games. You can move him off your roster. So Haley Ramirez is a DH. JD Martinez wants to actually play the field. There's ways to get Sam Travis on that roster in Boston. I think Blake Swihart probably is the one question. If Blake Swihart gets moved, Sam Travis is probably in Boston.
Probably, yes.
Because I think that's what's really stopping here is because you have Blake Swihart on your roster. That's what's keeping Sam Travis here. And honestly, that power numbers that he showed in spring training, it might not translate to the regular season, but he shows he's ready. And I think he'll make the jump this year. I think he'll show that he has potential to be the future starting first baseman for the Boston Red Sox.
No, I completely agree. And I still think, this spring, I don't care what anyone says. He looked healthier. He's hitting. He has more pop this spring. Last year, he hit 6 home runs during the regular season here for the Paw Sox. During the last month in Florida, he hit 6 home runs.
He also wasn't.
Granted, he did get a lot of at-bats.
He was very modest about it, too, when we brought it up.
He was.
Basically said a ton of at-bats. Credit it to the at-bats he basically saw.
Yeah.
Which, like you said, all of last season, he had 6 home runs in spring training.
Yeah.
That's what he's like. It's insane. He showed some power, and obviously recovering from the ACL injury last year was sort of maybe hindered him a little bit. But I thought he was effective in Boston when he was up there.
All right. One other thing coming out tonight was Tommy Lane is placed on the disabled list. It's going to be effective April 6th, so this Friday. So yeah, he suffered the injury back on March 27th. It was actually the final spring training game against the Chicago Cubs. So he's going to be going forward. We didn't have a chance to get an exact timetable on him, but we're going to try to get that timetable on Friday.
Tommy Lane's interesting. Obviously, like you said, pitched for the New York Yankees in Major League Baseball, pitched for the Red Sox a couple years prior to that. Back in Boston, he's a good depth guy in your bullpen, but how buried is he? Like, obviously, starting the season on the DL doesn't certainly go well in his favor.
It doesn't.
But even with a healthy Tommy Lane, like, he's an option for you. But there's other guys like we talked here tonight. Robbie Scott, certainly going to be a guy that they call up fairly early in the season if they need someone in Boston. He has the experience, and he also has the right attitude. So yeah, I do question where Tommy Lane's place will be here when he returns from the DL.
Yeah, so it's the way it's probably going to end up working out is the assumption would be that Johnson would be moving to the bullpen after a starter comes back, just because he doesn't have more options and they want to keep him. So he'll probably end up moving to the bullpen. But the left-handed options after that will probably end up being Bobby Pointer, Robbie Scott,
but
and Tommy Lane.
I would also say Robbie Scott is probably above Bobby Pointer when he's 100% in terms of when he's firing all cylinders.
I would agree so too.
You got to remember, Bobby Pointer was at AA Portland last year, so you can't really expect too much out of him. You know, it's certainly going to take some time to adjust to Major League Baseball and maybe get sent down here to Pawtucket, but certainly has proved to be a fairly capable pitcher in spring training and to start the season.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to go through the roster now. Your pitchers are going to be Jalen Beeks, Ryan Razor, Ty Buttrey, who we did talk to today. He basically pointed out that he really wants to work on cutting down his walk rate and basically just using that to basically get him up to Boston, because he is on the 40-man roster now. And
more to protect himself from the Rule 5 draft.
Right.
But with Buttrey is interesting, too, because they do view him as a late-inning reliever.
Mm-hmm.
And the most important question of the night was, who's the best player at Fortnite? And we asked him the question, and he said he played it a couple times, not too much, and apparently the craze hasn't hit the Pawtucket locker room, but in Boston it is on the rage. You know, we've seen some dances. Xander Bogaerts in spring training did an emote, and then Rafael Devers against the Rays did an emote, and they've been playing it. I think J. Martinez posted on his Instagram story. The whole team was literally sitting in a room watching their teammates play Fortnite. So I do expect it to be part of the locker room here in Pawtucket. You're going to expect one of these guys are going to come down, maybe do a rehab stint. Like, we got to play Fortnite, guys. But they are playing ping pong. We walked in, they're playing ping pong, and that's definitely something you got to learn here. If you're a Boston Red Sox prospect, learn how to play ping pong. Because, trust me, when you get to that Major League clubhouse, they take it seriously. And Dustin Pedroia is one of those guys where he'll literally kill you with the ping pong ball.
Yeah.
Several reporters almost got hit by a ping pong ball by Pedroia.
Yeah, actually, when we were walking into the clubhouse tonight, there were a few guys playing ping pong, and they were playing it for about 15 minutes before they put down the paddles. But yeah, Ty Buttrey said that he did have an excuse why he wasn't playing Fortnite. He did get married this offseason, so his wife really didn't let him. It's
a good excuse,
Xbox.
I think. But, I think it's a fair excuse.
So congratulations to the Butcheries, but
we let him off the hook for that one. Understandable that you haven't had time to play Fortnite, but I expect you to get on Fortnite here pretty soon. We're gonna have a Fortnite night.
All right. As continuing, we have William Cuevo, Jonas Elias, Justin Haley, William Jerez, Kyle Martin, Fernando Rodriguez, not that Fernando Rodriguez.
Different one.
Robbie Scott, Chandler Shepard, and Brendan.
Right. That rounds out your pitching. This is going to change so much over the next week. I can't even really describe how much it could change. You're going to have a change.
I don't expect this to be that.
Eduardo Rodriguez will join the Boston Red Sox active roster this weekend. The question is, does he start on Sunday?
Yeah.
Right. So that's going to change. Who's going to come down? Then you're going to have a change when Drew Commerce comes back. Stephen Wright, I think they're going to obviously he's still serving a suspension, but we'll kind of see how that plays out. He's also in the DL.
Yeah, so I mean, he won't start the suspension until he gets back from the DL.
So he's not going to be in Boston for quite some time. So you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
But
moving on to the catchers, Dan Butler, Mike Ohm, and then Oscar Hernandez is suspended. He will be out for 50 games. Jake Romanansky, who ended last season with Paw Sox, he's not on the roster. So my assumption, I haven't looked at the Portland roster.
Suspended as well.
He's probably on the Portland roster.
Also PEDs. Don't know what's going on with the catchers down here in the minor leagues. I would say with Mike Ullman, if you looking to find a reason to like him, he seems like a nice guy. He has a dog, and it was in the clubhouse. Name was Remy. So if you're a fan of Jerry Remy, he's not named after Jerry Remy. But the dog's name's Remy. So I think that was kind of cool. He was roaming the clubhouse. Friendly dog, friendly guy. Played for the Buffalo Bison last season, and he played in Toronto. So you might have saw him play in Toronto for the Blue Jays.
Yeah. For the infielders, we have Ivan De Jesus Jr., who, if I'm not mistaken, he was the guy that.
He used to play. Right? Yeah, he used to play in Pawtucket, 2012 to 2014, which was part of the LA Dodgers trade. He's a utility infielder. He came over, or he was sent there for the Dodgers trade that sent Josh Beckett, Carl Crawford, Adrian Gonzalez. Right. He's part of that deal. Right. And he's back in Pawtucket. Right.
This is the guy that I was thinking of. Chad De La Guerra, utility infielder that the Red Sox signed in the offseason from Mexico. Similar to what Hector Velasquez did. They did with Hector Velasquez the previous offseason. Zui Lin, Mike Miller, Sam Travis, and Jansen Wheat. So that rounds out the infielders.
Right.
Going to the outfield, we have Jeremy Barfield.
Oh, by the way, talking about ping pong before we move on, Jansen Wheat is apparently the best ping pong player in AAA clubhouse. So I think what should happen here is when the Red Sox and Boston have an off day in Pawtucket, I think there should be a battle. Two top ping pong players, so Jansen Wheat and if Pedroia or Sale over at the Boston clubhouse, they play together. That'd be quite the event. Maybe a charity event. Good idea.
That'd be nice.
It's a free idea.
In the outfield, you have Jeremy Barfield, who is the assumption will be for him is he's going to be the 3-hitter going forward.
Right, and if you can see that fence out there, he's going to hit a lot of balls over that fence. Probably about 30 home runs here in Pawtucket.
Yeah, and it's probably going to go over these new foul poles that we have here at McCoy Stadium.
We're not going to plug. We're not going to say what it is. If you come to the stadium for the first time, I believe in Pawtucket's history. I've never seen them here before. In terms of having a sponsor on the foul pole, but they have both their foul poles are by the same sponsor. They have good food. This place. I'm not going to say it. It's a free ad.
By the way, Tanner, I wasn't going to say it either.
Right, but I think you can see like some ads here. I don't think you see the foul poles, but they have names on the foul poles, and they added a bunch of new ads here. But Pawtucket, there's one on the big green building out in center field. That's a big ad, but they changed a lot of them in here.
Yeah, we also have Rusney Castillo. As you know about him, he's probably twice as good as Jackie Bradley Jr.
What? All right, twice as good overall. I don't think. Come on, that's not fair. I'm not a big JBJ guy, but did you see his catch last night?
It was a nice. It was a nice catch. God. It was a nice catch. But the point I was going to make is he's a very good offensive hitter now. It's really good defensively. He actually looks like a ball player now. The ball player that we all thought that we were getting when the Red Sox signed him back in 2014.
That's not his fault, but yeah,
the organization's
fault. Organization.
But he actually looks like a ball player now. So that's a name that you really should be seeing up in Boston.
He was an all-star last year in AAA. Hit the ball for contact, hits the ball for power. Played near errorless center field last year for Pawtucket. It's fast. He might be one of the purest five-tool players in the organization, to be honest. And I'm not just saying that. You could probably say Mookie Betts is better, but Rusney can hit the ball for power. And when that ball comes off his bat, I mean, it pops, man. It really does pop. And I do think Rusney is going to find himself a major league home this season. And the issue with trading him, I know a lot of people have been kind of talking about trading Rusney, is that contract that is attached to him, that's kind of difficult to move. And honestly, if you're looking at the Red Sox organization from an outfield perspective, the smart player to move would be a Jackie Bradley, just because you can move that contract, you can move the player, and he is a good player. I'm not going to take away from that. But you could click and plug with Rizne, Genie Martinez, Andrew Benintendi, Mookie Betts. You could roll with that being your outfield.
Yeah, we also have Ramon Flores and Anuri Tavares.
Right.
That runs out the Paul Sox roster. That's going to be changing a lot.
A little bit different than what we thought coming into today.
Yeah, one name that we were hoping to see here was Luke Tendler. He was on the Paul Sox roster on the official website. And the reason why we hoping he was going to be here is because we wanted to ask him about the lazy river that was at his old ballpark from last season.
It was the Rough Riders, Frisco Rough Riders.
Yeah.
Or Rough Riders?
Rail Riders.
Rail Riders.
No, Rough Riders.
Rough Riders. Yeah, I know. MLB The Show. Yeah, I played for them 1 year, but they got a lazy river. We wanted to ask him about that. That Dan Butler shit, obviously, talked about that. It wasn't on their roster this morning. Their online roster is not exactly up to date, as probably I would hope it would be. Steve Salsky was still on their roster this morning. Luke Tendler, obviously. One guy I didn't see anywhere is Jesse Juarez. Played in the Mexican League. Got a 293 hyper utility player. Wasn't anywhere on their roster. Was a guy I was kind of hoping to talk to because this was a player that played at what is considered a AAA level. So I was kind of confused with what occurred with him, and maybe we'll find out. But it seems like Major League Baseball or Minor League Baseball is a little behind on their in terms of what they're doing. Because Dan Butler's page on their official site says still a non-roster invitee for the Boston Red Sox. And I can't think of his name. The guy, the pitcher that they just added today too on their roster. Sorry, because I wasn't preparing for him. Ryan Brassier. So this was another player who I went on as I couldn't find anything in terms of the move. Say he was added to the Boston Red Sox on March 8th. I don't know what added means. I don't know how they got his rights. I have no idea. No report whatsoever. I'm going to dig into that one. I think there's a real lack of transparency at the minor level with these players. Really do.
No, there absolutely is.
So I'm going to get to the bottom of that. I'm going to figure out what happened and how did he get here. That's definitely a question. Who are you? How did you become a member of the organization? Did you sign as a free agent? Were you drafted? Were you part of the Rule 5? What happened to get here? Because he did play AAA baseball, and he actually played Major League Baseball in 2013, made a couple appearances for the LA Angels. So this is a guy who's been around. He's 29 years old, and he just popped up on the roster today. Wasn't a non-roster invitee, nothing like that. Was part of the spring training camp for Pawtucket. But other than that, no record of anything. So, yeah. Maybe we dropped the ball on that. Maybe we should have reported that. But you can't report it when it's not reported, right? In terms of being an actual team announcement.
That's fair.
We'll try to figure that one out.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's about all that we have from here on here at McCoy Stadium here on Media Night.
As you can tell, grass is green, looks great. The tarp is on the field. Obviously, it poured today, but the sun was peeking out. The players actually got on. They warmed up. We were the only media outlet here on the field watching these players warm up. I want you to write that one down. A lot of media outlets were here tonight.
Everyone was
Channel
here.
10, ABC, WPRI. Let me tell you this. These guys aren't going to be here all season. They don't. They won't. You'll see us here. You're going to see the Pawtucket Times here. You're going to see the Projo here. You'll see the Sun Chronicle occasionally. You'll see some guys pop in and out. But most of those guys here at Media Night, they won't be here. They won't know what's actually going on with this team. We will. Evan will. Evan Cook 33 on Twitter.
Yes.
Follow him on Twitter because we are one of the actual media members actually covering this team.
Yes. Yep. And we'll be here Friday.
AAA baseball matters, people.
It does.
These players are making it to the majors. Every single one of them can make it.
Yep. And we will be here this Friday. We'll be doing a show here from McCoy Stadium. It'll be around 2:45, 3 o'clock.
That's going to be a busy day for me. I'm working 6 to 2. Then I'm coming to McCoy for a game that might get rained out, or we'll see what happens.
The forecast is looking better for Friday night. However, if you are coming to the game, just warm.